Welcome to episode number 35 of the Nicola Valley Talk, a podcast provided by Tourism Nicola Valley, experiencenicolaValley.com bloggers, and experiencemerritt.com travel website. By all accounts, make it the best travel and travel adventure resource in the Nicola Valley. Nicola Valley Talk is broadcasted live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific Time from Merritt, British Columbia, Canada. My name is Tania Stewart, and I am your host tonight of Nicola Valley Talk. So, our guest tonight is Carole, and I might say this wrong, and I apologize, Leroux and Greg Alexander of Merritt's new Hat Doctor. Hat Doctor has been a Western institution since 1902. They specialize in making Western hats with 100% beaver fur for everyday hardworking cowboys and cowgirls, as well as custom hats for movies, entertainers, rodeo stars, and more. So let's put our hands together and welcome Carole and Greg to the Nicola Valley Talk. And here is Carole and Greg. Welcome to Nicola Valley Talk.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. So we got a big show tonight, so let's get right on to it. So welcome to the show again, Carole and Greg. So our first question is, Carole and Greg, could you share with us a little about yourselves and who and what is Hat Doctor?
Sure. I'll start off with my name. It's Carole Leroux or Carole Leroux. I am Francophone. I'm originally from Northern Ontario in the Sudbury area. I grew up on a hobby farm there. I since spent 27 years in Calgary and 5 years up in the Northwest Territories. I spent quite a few years at home being a stay-at-home mom, which was the best job in the world. I spent 10 years with Scholastic Book Fairs in Calgary. And I've now been a hatter for the last 6.5 years.
Wow. And
I was born in the Calgary area. Grew up on a dairy farm. Spent quite a few years farming and ranching. A few years as a long distance truck driver in the running Alberta, BC. Built, ran, and operated a large boarding facility outside of Calgary for a few years, and we've both been long-term volunteers with Calgary Stampede, and that's where we met. We each have 2 children, and we have 5 grandkids. Together, we created Just Passing Horse Transport and Bereavement Services that ran in the Calgary area, and then bought Hat Doctor.
So as you mentioned already, Hat Doctor has been around since 1902. It used to be called the Calgary Hat Doctor. Greg and I bought it October 1st, 2014. When we first bought it, I spent 8 months working alongside Mark White, who was the hatter before us. He was the hatter for 20 years. He hatted for 20 years. And we've continued the tradition of making 100% beaver fur felt hats, as well as clean, repair, rebuild existing hats.
Okay, and so that leads into this. You both moved Hat Doctor from Calgary to Merritt, BC. That is such a big change of geography and lifestyle and different provinces and everything. So why the move?
Well, that's exactly why we did it, is to slow down and just make the big move and slow down a bit and enjoy life a little bit more.
Yeah, so I like to say that we're semi-retired. Greg's retired and I'm not.
We believe it was meant to be because it all went so easily. Within a month, we'd been talking about the move. Within the month, we'd sold the other business, sold our acreage, and bought this one.
Oh.
It was a bit of a whirlwind.
And I just have to.
We were drawn to Merritt by the weather and the cowboy lifestyle.
I would like to quickly comment on your beautiful scenery in the background. the hats that you're wearing and the hats on the shelf.
Oh,
Beautiful, beautiful. So on your website,
well, thank you. Thank you.
yeah,
Those
yeah,
are all
they're
ours.
gorgeous. I should have got one from you, and I could have worn it next time. So on your website, you make it clear all your Western wear hats are made with 100%
Sure.
beaver fur. Why is beaver fur hat so important for us newbies who have know nothing about it, to the cowboy or cowgirl wearing it in the arena?
So the first thing I want to make clear, because a lot of people ask this, is that it's beaver fur felt. It's
Okay.
not pelt. There's no leather in the hats at all. It's a felt that is made from the fur.
Back in the olden days, in the trapping days, the buyers would always pay more for the pelts that the trappers had used for coats and blankets over the winter, because they had sweat in them, and that would rough up the hair, so that they didn't have to treat it in the felting process. The way in the old days, the felting process was done with mercury, which caused, for obvious reasons, caused the hatters to go mad. That's
Hence the term Mad Hatters. And in fact, if you've ever noticed on the inside of the cowboy hat, there's a small ribbon bow. And back then, because they used mercury and they needed to kind of notify people that they had used a dangerous chemical in the process of making the hats, they created the bow because it was the only thing that they could think of that most resembled a skull and crossbones. And so nowadays, that little bow is still put in hats as a memorial to all the hatters who went mad so long ago.
And way back when, they always only used the beaver bellies, the hair from the beaver bellies, to make the hats. And it would take about 39 beaver bellies to make one hat. Now they use all the hair, and it's kind of blown together like candy floss, and it looks like a big triangular coffee filter before they punch the hat body out of it.
And so cowboy hats are made of various types of felts. The best quality is the beaver fur felt. The lowest quality is a wool felt hat. And then in the middle, there's blends and oftentimes 100% rabbit. So there's sort of the midline or the blends that are all of the above. The reason the beaver fur is the best is just its natural properties. It's naturally water repellent. And so when you're wearing your hat every day, you need it to stand up to the elements. And if it gets wet from rain or snow, your hat will hold its shape because the fur is naturally repellent. And also just, again, the natural properties make it such that it felts well without a lot of lacquer. And so that makes your hat more breathable and comfortable to wear all year round because it breathes. It's not so hot.
So hence why then it's great for cowboys and cowgirls to not just wear it in the arena, but to wear it out on the range when they're rounding up cows and doing their cowboy thing.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not just a fashion thing, right? It really is part of a uniform, especially around here. There's a lot of working cowboys here.
And there sure is. And what a great place to come. I mean, that is amazing. And I never knew that about the Mad Hatter, like the hat. And that's quite interesting. So I guess, that is amazing.
Yeah.
So to get some of these beautiful hats, what is the process for us to purchase one of your beautiful hats? How do we go about that?
Well, ideally, you would come to the shop and we would measure your hat. We have this
your head.
Your head for a hat. We have this beautiful little gizmo that we put on your head that kind of measures the size and as well, or even more importantly, the shape of your head. And then we take that and transpose it into the hat. And as we're building the hat, then we iron that shape right into the hat so the body is, it's the right shape for your head. If you can't come into the shop, then we can do it, over the phone or whatever, but you have to remember when you're measuring it not to get your thumb under the tape measure because it makes a difference. The fun then begins because then you have to pick your color, your style of crown, your style of brim, and your band. And then after that, once we have to get our deposit, and then we order the hat body, and then we sit and wait until it gets around to getting here from Winchester, Tennessee, and then away we go.
And just by chance, when you were saying about measuring your hat, what if you wanted to get someone a gift? You would bring in a hat for someone if you wanted to surprise them?
Well, ideally, again, it's best. For me, the biggest fun part of buying a new hat is picking every little detail. And the most important part is the fitting. And so if you want to surprise somebody, what we usually recommend is that you get a gift certificate. And then, maybe you can buy a hat can as well and present the hat can with the gift certificate in it, or a hat box or something like that. It really almost takes some of the fun out of it if you just buy a hat, because then it's a custom hat, right? So a lot of the fun of the custom is making all those decisions and those choices.
And it's very important to get the right shape in there, because otherwise it bites or it just ends up in the dirt all the time.
Yeah. In the dirt or it falls off, or you're throwing it off because it's biting into your head. It doesn't fit well. And it's true, a good hat, because I have a good a straw hat. It was a really nice cowboy hat at one time, and it's ruined because I've had it for like 15 years. And it was a great hat. It's like a best friend, right? Hats can be. I think we might have a little lag here.
I said it's time for you to invest in a good felt hat.
Oh, I think I did put that. I'm getting one. I'm going to get a hat. Hat Doctor is also a great resource for hat restoration and a supporter of Reduce, Rethink, Reuse, Recycle campaign. Can you share with us the renovation process for bringing hats back to life?
Absolutely. Are my favorite. People, like you said, get so attached to their hat. It does become their best friend. They have so many memories in it. They were married in it. It was bought by their late parents. It was their grandfathers. There's just so many ways that a hat is important to people, and they're so happy when we're able to give it a new life. And so the first thing we do, again, is ideally we'll get to measure your head, because that is one of the critical parts. So ideally we can do it in person. Then we'll take the hat apart. So we'll take all the sweatband and the liner out. We'll take the band off, and we wash it in soap and water, literally scrub it clean. Then it has to be perfectly dry before we can do anything else with it. And the first thing would be to block it and iron it and shape it. And then we hand sew a sweatband in it, which we also do in our new hats, is we hand sew, which is also a very important detail about a good custom hat, is that the sweatband being sewn in by hand versus sewing machine extends the life of your hat. Where was I? Then we iron your head shape into the hat if we have it on file, and finish it off with a band and a new liner. Sometimes some hats have holes, and we're usually able to patch them, but if we can't, or if they are too obvious, then we can camouflage them by rebuilding the hat front to back, or by turning it inside out if there's some nasty stains that just won't come out, but on the inside it's still pristine because it hasn't been exposed to the elements. So we can do a lot of neat, bizarre things. We can also resize a hat, and we can completely change the style as well. We've had a lot of really old-fashioned hats that have come in, and we've made them modern again. So that's a fun thing too, rather than let it sit in the closet or tossing it out. So the renovations represent about 60% of the business that we do. So we enjoy it, and people love getting their hats redone and get a chance to put new memories in their old hats.
And they'll quite often be mailed in from all over North America.
Yeah, yes, we've been getting a lot of our Alberta customers have followed us here. Thank you so much. And they mail them to us and we mail them back. And yeah, we've done hats. We regularly do hats that come in from the United States. And I think the furthest we've done was Australia and New Zealand once as well. So that was kind of exciting.
And first of all, we have some of the best customers ever.
The best customers ever.
We've met lots of interesting people from all sorts of walks of life. We've worked on a few hats for few famous people. Terry Grant, who's the original man tracker. Pat Pirelli, who's the natural horsemanship guru. BC's own Glenn Stewart. Chuckwagon legends. Chuckwagon driver legends, Rick Fraser, Lane McGilvery, Cody McCracken, Chad Cosgrave, and Fred Eagles. We've done a few hats for some different musicians like Crystal Plemondel, Craig Bugnell of Over the Moon, Kit Johnson, Blake Reed, and Steve Pointenmeyer.
And a lot of those musicians actually, and some of the truck drivers have become some good friends. So we're really happy about that. A lot of our customers have become good friends. The other really cool thing is in December 2019, we had a film crew show up at not just show up, they scheduled it, but spend a day with us in the hat shop to do a documentary for a new series called Heartland Country Cowboy Culture. And it's now airing on Prime. And so like the rest of us, if you're waiting for the next season of Yellowstone, check out Heartland Country Cowboy Culture. Season 3, episode 8 is on hat making, and it features us, Hat Doctor. Another big feather in our cap is being featured in the UK's The Hat magazine. They did a feature on sustainable fashion, and they wanted to know all about our hat renovations. And they also were quite impressed to learn that when a hat is not salvaged or salvageable, we use it to sell to some of the Indigenous folks who are looking for bonnets to make their beautiful headdresses. So we've sold a few of those as well. What we like and what surprised us.
And it's been neat to find out that we've, pretty much everything we need is really here. We've, so many specialized services and talented people working from here. So we've been really fortunate to have no trouble getting contractors or people to do stuff or whatever we need.
And we absolutely love how welcoming everybody has been. Even through this global pandemic, we've managed to make some new friends, and we very much look forward to spending some time together with them. And we also look forward to getting involved in the community once it's safe to do so. Something that surprised me, that I was very pleasantly surprised with, is that the nights it cools off in the evening, and it's nice and cool at night, because I was expecting the big heat that happens during the daytime would stick around all night, but no, it doesn't. And I was very happy to learn that.
And we were a little surprised before Christmas to come home and have 2 feet of snow in our lane.
That was a bit of a shock, yes.
We didn't need that.
Well, I tell you, you two are pros in my books because I am so glad when we first came on, I said to you, just in case I sometimes lose my guest, but and then if you lose me, then you just keep on going. And what a trooper show you two are. I love it. You guys are the best. I mean, this is going to go down in records. So back to 6 speed, and after and what a great question and answer period that you guys two had there, which is great. So we see you follow all the programs and projects of Tourism Nicola Valley and the Experience Nicola Valley program on Instagram. How has our program made an impact to the community from your perspective?
Well, as they say, information is power. You know what you're doing a great job of keeping everybody well informed and what's happening and what's available here in Merritt, an area. It's great on how you promote Merritt as a hub for all the smaller communities surrounding us, and and all the multi things to see for those passing through.
You have your finger on the pulse.
And I know that you guys, it was a big step for you guys to come here and everything. And Carole and Greg, before we let you go, is there anything else you would like to share with our listeners or myself, since I missed a bit there, just in case anything?
Sure. One thing we'd like you to know is that we are also the Western Canadian distributor of Samuel Bouquet watches. They're a great watch. And the beauty of them is that they are customizable. Here in the shop, we've got the equine line that are sitting here ready to go, but you can also customize them with your logo or a brand. They make fantastic awards for groups who are having competitions. They're also a great gift. There's no minimum quantity required for them either.
And we are also the dealer for Fence Fast fencing staplers, like for building fences. Both we carry both pneumatic as well as cordless fencers, as well as sell the staples and rent the actual machines.
And once it's safe to do so, we do plan to have an open house here at the shop. It's really an interesting little shop. Most of our tools and equipment are antiques, so it's like a mini museum. It's really quite interesting, and we very much look forward to meeting more people in Merritt and the Nicola Valley.
Oh, and I can't wait to meet you guys in person and to go to your shop and see the hats and the antiques. I love antiques, so they're great. And I wanted to say, Carole, I lived in Sudbury, Ontario. I'm an Ontarian, I guess you could say.
Did you really?
I was born in Elliott Lake. Yeah, just down or up the road. I lived in, my older son was born in London, Ontario. Yes.
Yeah.
So I went to college in Sudbury and lived there for a bit. But so I wouldn't want to move back there, but I sure do miss the East. That's for sure. And I have to say, Greg, I love your jacket. Are those beads on your?
No, it's just stitched embroidery.
Well, I thank you too for kind of co-hosting the talk show of your own talk show tonight. Thank you very much. It couldn't have happened to better people, I tell you, because you guys just took the baton and kept rolling, and I thank you so much. And I look forward to meeting you two in person. And if you would like to stick around and we could talk, have a little chat after. Okay. And I thank you, Carole and Greg. And thank you to everyone who listened and watched. Well, that was like, again, it is live. Things do happen, and again, I want to thank Carole and Greg for taking over the baton and just kept going with the show. So make sure to tune in next week, March 18th, when Merritt Golf Course will be the guest on the Nicola Valley Talk. So see you next week, every Thursday. Come and join us and meet and listen to a Merrittonian, same time, same place, at 7 p.m. Pacific time, right here in the Nicola Valley, on the Nicola Valley Talk. My name is Tania Stewart, your eco-blogger on experiencenicolaValley.com. And please reuse, recycle, and reduce. And make sure to follow all of our programs and future programs on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube pages. And thank you very much for joining us tonight. Bye.